Hello to those listening. This is an orator here with the freest of speech. And this time, I would like to talk about the sex drive. Now, to begin, just get these basic things out of here. That sex is a part of our species' reproductive methods. So, having sexual desire is a part of both men and women. But the sex drive isn't. That is something that's exclusive to men. And I would like to illustrate my point in like this. If you took 100 men and 100 women and you just gave them just say portfolios full of the opposite sex, right? And you let them pick out, on a scale of 1 to 10, the most attractive and all that fun stuff, right? Then you give them a challenge saying that pick one of these three gauntlets to run. Their dangers go from light to more extremes. And then you tell them the more difficult the challenge you pick, the hotter the partner you would get for, let's say, about a half hour sexy time after completing the gauntlet from your list of people you chose who were attractive by the scale, right? Same thing with the women, do the same thing. Now, the thing is, if you give this challenge to these guys, it'll probably break down that the less physical men will probably pick the easiest one. The more athletic and physically confident men will probably pick the more difficult one, and then the majority of men will probably pick the ones in the middle. But each one will still choose a door. Women, on the other hand, I fairly believe that half of the women wouldn't pick any door. Because remember, this isn't about a relationship or anything of that nature. It's just for like a half hour sexy time and you're done. I see half the women not even doing it. I see in the out of the other 50 that want to do it, I see the smallest percentage of them going into the lower tiers. And you may have so those who do the challenge would focus mostly on the middle ground. Now, you may be saying, if you're talking about a sex drive, what's this have to do with sex drive? And this is what I mean by sex drive. You see, those men will look at the situation they're in, they will take their best shot and they will go forward and face the danger to try to get themselves a little sexy time. The majority of the women, on the other hand, wouldn't even attempt to take the challenge because they just don't want to. And then the ones that will take the challenge, they're not going to go to the extreme ones. They'll pick the middle road, and if it gets too complicated halfway through, they'll quit. Because women don't have the drive, the inherent desire, motivation to go forward. Even talking to women through my decades of being alive, it always comes down to this thing where I could never understand why the women complain about not getting be able to get laid, because I always looked at it like, look, even if you were like the most unattractive woman on the planet, all right, let's just say you won the worst, ugliest woman there was, period. If you walked into a bar and said, "I'm trying to get laid," you will at least get one or two takers. And I mean, this is for the ugliest woman in the world. You do that as a guy, it's pretty sure it's not gonna happen. Unless you're rich, then bitch, pretty then your odds go significantly. But then the response I always get is that they don't want to do that. So it's you complain about not being able to have sex or not getting laid, but this is not even a problem that can be rectified literally within minutes. And this is the crux of what I'm talking about when I mean that men have a sex drive, women don't. Women have sexual desire, but not the drive to go out and get sex. Now, as a guy, I can tell you through personal experience that if I'm around a woman who I find attractive, I can literally feel different aspects, the more primal instinctual parts of my brain literally kicking in and trying to force me to be more conciliatory to this person than I would be to anyone else. But you see, I'm gonna let it go through because I don't want to do things that nature. That's what I'm not about. That's not what I like to do. But if I know this happens to me, then that means it must happen to every other guy because it's attached to the sex drive. My brain is telling me to be conciliatory to try to get to the sex. But some may say, well, women are conciliatory in some instances to try to get to sex, and the thing is, are they really? Do their brains literally attempt to force them to stop being who they are in that instant to try to get to the sex? And the answer to that will probably is pretty sure is no. Because in our mating rituals, men are the pursuers and women are the pursued. So you don't need to engage, if you're a woman, in the active pursuit of a man. Therefore, there would be no, in a sense, instinctual need for you to alter yourself because you're not really doing anything. You are passive in this exchange. Well, and on that note, I'll end it right there. This was an orator with the freest of speech. Thanks for listening.